Hi there, my name is Andrew Roux. I am an actor, and this is definitely not a masterclass by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think you should ever stop being a student in this industry. How I got into acting? Jesus, we're going all the way back to primary school, when I think one of the first things I saw was a theatre production of the BFG, and it completely took my imagination on this journey of, like, I literally was in another world. I mean, to a 6-year-old, when you're looking at a stage and there are like flats and hills and castles coming around you, I don't think you can ever kind of underappreciate the value that that can has on a child, or any child, or even an adult today. I think that's what's missing from a lot, is this magic, which I found as a young boy, and I've kind of continued to try and strive for in all of my work. Starting from there, I think I went through high school, was in the drama club and did a few plays. Actually, I really had a really good teacher, David Benny, who's still in the industry today, actually. Funny enough, I did a commercial with him about 6 years ago, so it was like coming full circle with The Master and the Apprentice. But again, he instilled this kind of thing of imagination and creation, that it's all in you already. And that kind of theme has gone on for quite a while. Let's see where from there. High school kind of goes into college. I go fuck off after high school. I'll go overseas to the USA, and then I'm busy watching the Beach DVD in Boca Raton, Florida, and I watched the special edition when people still watch special editions of DVDs, and I was listening to the director's commentary, and I was like, shit, I actually quite like this. And I came back and I started at a theatre school in Cape Town. I actually followed quite a number of friends from school. I finished there after 4 years, and then I went over to the UK, back again, where my training in essence started with a children's theatre group, which was one of the biggest, learning curves ever, in that if you cannot hold a child's imagination, you are fucked. Absolutely fucked. I mean, you even got to the one funny story is that I was playing Rumpelstiltskin, and I had forgotten my costume, and kind of as a backup I had to get a plastic bag and put it over me, and the whole front row of children were holding their noses. They just couldn't fucking stand the stink that was coming out of me. I don't know what kind of connection this has with any advice on an actor, but do children's theatre, don't forget your costume. But yeah, I came back, and this is kind of where I think, in terms of my advice to young actors starting out, kind of would begin, because I'd come back, I'd done children's theatre before I had gone to the UK. I'd done a few commercials. I had an agent here in Cape Town. But this coming back to the industry, there was a kind of a cycle that started to happen of kind of going for the odd commercial casting. And then I was very lucky enough to start working as a studio director at a casting studio. And this is where the great unlearning and relearning happened for me, where everything that I had learned before, I kind of negated, and literally being in that studio taught me everything. And I can only kind of describe it to you as that I learned that the art of acting, as wanky as it sounds, is actually just the art of being. And that being a good actor is just being yourself. And that's very hard to tell somebody as a 15-year-old, a 20-year-old, 25-year-old. You're still finding out, you're still learning, you're still living. And I think it's the most important thing in this industry is patience. Patience is in a whole kind of stream of things. For instance, for me, I didn't get a lot of work in my 20s. And then I was in a theatre production, and I always had short back and sides hair. Looked like a prep schoolboy. And I started growing my hair out. And suddenly it became this kind of character, this crazy, like, science wizard, whatever, I don't know. And that kind of has kind of molded a lot of how I work and what I work with and the roles that I'm getting. But it was a lot of patience of kind of getting there. And I really think not having gone through that, it was like a trial. I didn't just arrive there. I mean, some people do, and they're fortunate and they say lucky. But if you want to follow the process, it is a lot of patience and a lot of knowing yourself, which is the most important thing, knowing who you are. And I think a lot of people forget that. And it's very hard to kind of grasp onto that. But it is essentially about relationships. And being in the room as a let's say casting director, I don't really like using that word because I wasn't a casting director, although they're one of the most underappreciated kind of facets of the industry, is that like middleman. But it's being in a room and being comfortable in who you are. And that's where, in terms of being a good actor, is being completely open to everything. But you can only be open to everything if you're comfortable in yourself. You're kind of second guessing. One part of your brain is thinking, oh God, I got to do this. Oh God, what do they think of me? Your ego starts to come up. And if you are completely comfortable in a room, there is nothing that can stop you in being completely yourself, which is essentially, I would say, what a director is looking for, or anybody. It's just an expression of oneself. There's actually one interesting story I had. I was doing a voiceover and I had a kind of routine where I'd go and have breakfast beforehand. And I bumped into, God. I was sitting at a breakfast table and I kind of looked opposite me and it was like, I know this face. And it was actually an American actor who was out here doing a job. And we kind of like, I was a big fan, but he gave me one piece of salient advice that I've taken with me. And he was talking about how he judged success. And that was, he had a famous New York artist that he went to a show. This guy was 70 years old. And afterwards, this guy had asked him, what is your key to your success? And he was like, well, I just outlived everybody. Outlived all his opposition. Which I found fascinating. That again, kind of like the key thing of being patient with your time, patient with yourself. And I think it's very hard when you have other kind of external like facets on you of like, you know, you got a rent to pay, you got to eat food and stuff, and it kind of gets hard to do so. But if you can kind of outlive those struggles, c'est la vie. There's another kind of salient piece of advice I think I got as well, which was kind of doing a lot of improv, and I feel like a lot of actors don't do this. They don't enjoy silence. It's like, it was a like moment for me, is that I could sit there and not say anything and be completely free. I didn't feel forced. It's kind of like the analogy I would use is this. You're playing a game of hand tennis. And it's very cool. You can hit to one another. Boom, boom, boom. You're hitting as a team. You're kind of feeding each other lines. You kind of close it. It makes no sense of you kind of smashing a ball and kind of completely ruining a scene. You want to play with somebody else. But naturally, what's going to happen is maybe you kind of hit a ball and it kind of bounces, and it bounces on a rock and it kind of spurns away. And that makes somebody else kind of reach for it and lunge for it. And from there on, it's naturally going to progress a scene or something, especially in improv. And I've kind of taken that, being yourself, not giving a fuck, which is hard to do, and somebody teaching me about taxes are the most four important things I can ever give a young actor coming up in the industry to kind of take cognition of.